context about. The driver and the grandfather were questioned by the crime branch yesterday. They were let go off by late night. We'll just bring you more because we do have details about the line of questioning to the driver. Remember, investigations in this entire story carry on. We'll just bring you a reporter on the story for more context in just a second. Remember, a number of aspects are still being questioned. This is a case in which two youths died in a Pune Porsche accident. Whether or not alcohol was consumed. There were multiple aspects that are being looked at right now. We'll just go over to our reporters. But remember, two engineers working in Pune's Kalyan Nagar area were killed after a speeding Porsche, allegedly being driven by a 14-year-old, knocked down their motorcycle around 2:30 a.m. on Sunday. We'll go over to Yasha to understand more. Yasha, tell us about the line of questioning, please. I believe you have the details.
Absolutely. In fact, the grandfather of the accused was questioned by the Pune crime branch yesterday. Apart from that, the driver in this case was also questioned by the Pune's crime branch. Now here in this case, considering from day one, in fact, we've heard several eyewitnesses speak to us who said that when at Yerwada police station, there were a lot of discrepancies that took place. One was the fact that the Agrawal family was trying to put forth the whole narrative that it was the driver who was driving the car and not the accused in this case. However, it was only because of intervention by people who were present there, the eyewitnesses, was where they had to charge this case against the accused. But here now when you speak of the narrative, it's the same narrative that's being set by the accused's father, who's been arrested by the crime branch. He'll be produced before the court today. So here again in the questioning, he's trying to put forth the same narrative. Apart from that, questioning has also taken place with the accused's grandfather and the driver. So now, in fact, in the earlier statement which the driver gave to the cops, he had mentioned that he had time and again informed the accused's father that the accused wants to drive. He had also insisted that he would be driving, but the accused's father gave a go-ahead for the accused to drive. Apart from that, he also refused the offer by the driver that he should be driving. So which is where, as far as the details that we have, the driver was sitting on the passenger seat right next to the driver, right to the driving seat. Apart from that, there were two more friends of the accused who were present in the vehicle, who were sitting right behind. Now here in this case, it's also a possibility that the two accused who were sitting behind, of course they are also minors, so which is why they be called with their parents for questioning by the crime branch so as to understand and piece together the evidences or the sequence of the events. Apart from that, what we also need to understand is that the questioning for accused's grandfather, in fact the order copy of the Juvenile Justice Board, which was exclusively accessed by us, the Sunday order copy, which had mentioned the 300-word essay aspect in it, had mentioned that the grandfather takes guarantee for the accused that he will not fall into the bad company, and he takes guarantee that the accused would maintain a sane life. But amidst all of this, the investigation has also revealed that the accused's grandfather also has an FIR against him, that of involving Chota Rajan against one of the corporators in Pune. So which is where now, considering the fact that the accused's grandfather was also questioned, he was questioned on a few aspects. One includes the fact that he had given a guarantee, and on what grounds did he give guarantee when he knew of the drinking habit of the accused. In fact,
Yasha, I'll just ask you to stay with us. Swapnil Kothari, a senior Supreme Court lawyer, is with us right now. Sir, thank you for joining us this morning on CNN News 18. Sir, details of this case obviously continue to emerge. Right now, what we're sharing with our audiences is some of the inside details of the line of questioning with both the driver and the grandfather of the accused. I just want to ask you about your opinion on the details you shared, but also about the progress of this case, sir.
Well, I believe the progress is ongoing. I hope it reaches its logical conclusion. There are multiple people involved here as accessories after the fact, what we call in law. Obviously, the driver was told to give the key to the juvenile. So far, I would treat him as adult because that is what the JJB should do. Once they set up a panel, I believe a panel has been set up. So I think that should be the conclusion. It should be a very, very, very facile conclusion simply because it's a heinous crime. Two people have lost their lives. He had no business sitting behind the wheels because he was underage. He did not have the age for a driving license, or rather to drive the car. Obviously, he must not be having the license. The car was unregistered. Obviously, the father was indulging the child that, okay, so it's a 2 crore car, you can drive it, we are very rich people. Now, the grandfather's connections will obviously come into play as far as this aspect is concerned. Of course, it's a 2009 case where he was allegedly to have given some sort of money to bump off someone. That also matters in some aspects. What matters primarily here is the child being underage, under the influence of alcohol. The blood samples, 2 of them have been sent by the Pune police. Surprisingly, I do not know why. Simply, they should have been taken within 30 minutes itself,
Right time period,
as
right.
fast as possible, and so that the alcohol would show. Now, I'm going a step ahead. Even if the investigation is compromised, which it appears to be, because you have not put 304 in the very first place itself, which is culpable homicide not amounting to murder, non-bailable offence, has a maximum punishment of 10 years. That should have been there in the very first place itself and not afterwards, not a day later, because the JJB was in a position to give him bail within the very first 5 or 8 hours or 13 hours. Just imagine that the bail comes faster than the results of the blood report. So I think we all know where this investigation was earlier, and with the media pressure, now it's getting into a proper direction. So all of these factors come into play simply because it's extremely important that you ensure that all the evidence which is there, him being under the influence of alcohol, him driving a car when he is not, and multiple people have seen him driving the car, and that's the reason why some of them bashed him up as well. So there nobody can say that it was the driver who was driving the car, even if the driver was there sitting next to him. Because some of these times what happens is that to save the brat, you tend to make somebody else the scapegoat. Now that is not going to be possible in this case, fortunately. My short point is, which I think a lot of people miss the point, is that, the 2 blood samples have been given. Obviously, the reports will show as he was not under the influence of alcohol. 1 offense less, okay? Under the influence of alcohol. But the bottom line is that the 2 people have been killed. There is proof that he had alcohol, because you don't pay 49,000 rupees in a bar for peanuts and groundnuts. So obviously, there is other evidence also to show that he had taken alcohol. CCTV footage would have been there. So just the blood report to, sort of create some sort of a spoke in the wheel of the defense, of the prosecution is not going to help out. So my short point is that this investigation should first result in cancellation of the bail, which it has. 2, the father should be in the dock as well, as there was an American case where a 16-year-old had some gun and he shot several people in his school, and the father was also convicted along with him, because the father was negligent enough not to monitor the child, that whether he had a gun or he had not. And even if they had a licensed gun, he should have had no business taking it to school. So cancellation of the bail, father being in the dock, grandfather being questioned, driver being questioned. 3rd, he should be considered as an adult. That is, the application of the Pune police should be accepted, that yes, he should be treated as an adult when he goes to trial. And a fast-track trial, and of course section 304 at the moment, which is culpable homicide not amounting to murder, because 302 murder may be a little difficult to prove for the prosecution, because it's not a premeditated murder to kill X or Y. But there are several cases and precedents in a court of law should the Pune police want to hike it up or escalate up from 304 to 302.
Mr. Kothari, can I also ask you, the JJP obviously went ahead and revised their order, and we know there's been that change, and questions were asked of the JJB how they even gave the initial order that they did in the first place. Obviously, the media was asking for accountability, but since they've revised their order, that aspect of this entire story has died down. Do you think that also needs to be a larger investigation here, how the first order was given in the first place? If media hadn't come into play, what this could have played out as?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic question, and I have always been telling on several channels that the JJB's order must be investigated as to why this kind of an order was given. It's a semi-judicial or a quasi-judicial body, as what we call in law. But their argument could be that there was no section 304 at that time. It was 304A, death by negligence. So we had all the time in the world, and he was a juvenile, to give him the bail. That could be their the easiest excuse. So there was no section which barred us from giving a bail, such as section 304, which was levied a day later when the media made a big hue and cry about it. So obviously all of these aspects need to be investigated. And before you investigate the JJB,